Dune Part 2. As within a review, this may contain spoilers. I enjoyed the film. The first Dune, I thought it was okay. I like this one more. However, the issue I have with this movie is the same issue I had with the first Dune, and that is the pacing of the film. I find them to be unnecessarily slow. The movie seems to focus more on being this grand spectacle than trying to be concise and just getting along with the story. Obviously, I want the story to be told with fully fleshed out characters and storylines, which requires time, but there seems to be a lot of dead space that doesn't do anything. My biggest problem overall with Dune as a whole, at least so far, is my lack of connection to the story and the characters. I find myself not having an emotional connection to any of the characters. The visuals are amazing, but it isn't enough to make up for that lack of connection. The story continues from Dune 1 with Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, living with the Fremen and getting closer to Chani, played by Zendaya. Paul seeks acceptance from the Fremen and does so by proving himself to them by not only fighting beside them, but also riding a desert worm. In doing so, he is seen as the savior of the prophecy foretold. Chani believes that the prophecy is a way to keep her people enslaved. Stilgar, on the other hand, played by Javier Bardem, is a devout believer and is willing to put his life on the line for Paul. The story unfolds with the Fremen led by Paul attacking the Harkonnen defenses while the Emperor is visiting. Paul confronts the Emperor and issues a challenge for the throne. Paul wins the challenge and declares himself the new Emperor. The other great houses refuse to accept the outcome, and the story ends with Paul declaring war against the great houses. The story is left open, which means a Dune Part 3, but that will only happen if this film does well at box office. As of making this video, the first weekend gross seems to be around double what the first Dune made in its first week in theaters. This is a good sign that the movie will indeed have a Part 3. I read that the script for Part 3 is almost complete, but they are waiting on how well Part 2 does to see if they will get a chance to finish and complete the story. While I spoke about what I didn't like about the movie, let me talk about the positives. What I love about Dune is the religious aspect the story tells. Faith is powerful, but it's also a form of power. Depending on who yields that power, it could be used for good or evil. Manipulation is a big aspect of faith, and this film explores the different angles that are used to make the faithful follow orders and achieve a certain cause. There's also the white savior component to the story. Paul, who comes from a great house, is the supposed savior of the brown people of Arrakis. All of this is super interesting, and I'm hoping we do get a Part 3 to see how the religious and savior aspect continues and ultimately where it all ends up. Overall, the movie was good, not great, but that doesn't mean you would enjoy more than I did, but I do think it's worth watching. If you stuck around this long, why not give the video a like and subscribe? It's free, and also check out my other videos. Leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the film. See you in the next review.